More here. I am going to give you a brief update regarding the flooding and the tornadoes that we have been walking through in Michigan. And we're continuing on praying for this state, but we're also researching, looking into why did this even happen. So for today, let me just cover the facts of what we have experienced. There were 9 tornadoes that came through this past Tuesday. That was April 14th. And they took place in Ann Arbor and Lincoln Park. Those were F1 tornadoes. In mid-Michigan, we had Albee Township, Durand, and Bridgeport areas. In West Michigan, there were 3 confirmed tornadoes. Otsego, which is in Allegan County, Fenwick, Branch County, and there were a number of areas that were hit by storms as well. So we're up to about 13 tornadoes for the year. Normally we have maybe about 20, but it is high. But even more importantly is watching the dams and the flood waters. And in Sheboygan, we know that the water system right now, it's 5 inches below the flood level. It's been creeping up and it's gone down just slightly this morning. But that territory is on evacuation notice. It's a level 2, meaning that there's a very strong possibility they're going to have to be evacuated. So they provide them 3 different levels, and I think it's like ready, set, and go. And they're at the set stage of make sure you've got everything collected and ready. So that way, if we do tell you to leave, they can leave quickly. Muskegon River area will have some of the same issues going on. Other areas where there's dam threats, possibilities or probabilities of dams overflowing will be in Antrim County and the Bel Air Dam. It's at risk. One second. Other Michigan dams include Buck Pond. That already emptied out. As of this morning, I went online, checked real quick, and I hit a phase of where it's emptied out now into Lake Houghton, and so it's nothing much more than a mud patch. The Little Black River watershed levee, which is Sheboygan County, Mayo Dam, also AuSable River, which is near Kalkaska, Traverse City region, the Tippy Dam in the Manistee, and the Hesperia Dam, White River. So those flood statuses and threats continue. And then mandatory evacuations, I've already mentioned Sheboygan, Newaygo County, the Muskegon River, they're watching that. Hesperia, White River, they are urging people in that region for them to be prepared and take action. We've seen 83 counties be under flood alerts this week. 33 counties may be remaining under watch and flood threats. And then this is Friday, April 17th. Through the weekend, we will have another round of rains. And right now we're watching up in the Upper Peninsula. The counties that touch near Wisconsin are on high alert for waters for tornadoes. This is just a factual update, not a prayer one. So those are under watch, and I'm seeing in southeastern Michigan that there's rains that may continue through the state and into the southeast region as well. So we remain on watch and alert, and I want to highlight 2 things to you. One is I just completed a flood report because the cause for these floods and the dams breaking has to do with the state's regulations, the regulatory and infrastructure failures. And I'll just give you a brief synopsis, but I highly recommend getting this report online. It's on the MIAPC.org website. Getting it. I write intelligence reports, and this includes a policy reform as well. And I've already been in contact to share it with authorities. So I've completed this. I'm going to publish it out there. I would highly recommend you get information, get it, as far as it'll provide you strategic intelligence, and you can always ask God for spiritual intelligence. But for those of you who even work in government, this lays out an immediate plan all the way into like the next 10 years. And the bottom line that you need to know is that this is a 70-year-old issue. If you look at 1956, the main concern was diverting water runoff from farms and from other types of agricultural type of issues. But since that time, think about the number of cities that have been built, the cement, the hard tops that are impermeable, and it causes water to run off at a higher speed. You can take inclines and other factors, but the water's got to go somewhere. And so there's no regulations to say how to handle that runoff. We do not have it built within the infrastructure or the regulations, so there is none. And as we've moved forward and we continue to build, even bridges can cause a problem with runoff. So how you do things matters, and our government has not been working to regulate this. There's not agreement, and that is a state failure. It is not a federal, and these are not historical rains. I talked with experts this week, and some of the findings, and I've got my report documented. You can go and look for all of the bibliography, the websites, the information, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact is, we're dealing with normal snow melt, and we're dealing with normal spring rains. This is not a green issue. It's not a climate issue. It is not a federal issue. And we have 2,600 dams in this state. 30% of them are not able to handle what we are experiencing, guys. 30%. And there's probably, the news may mention about 8 key dams, and it's more like about 12 to 20 dams that are needing watched, and the water's overflowing. So I just want to give you some of those facts as far as what we have walked through. We've got more rain coming, and on a different avenue, I am going to be mobilizing prayer because we're at the point where God's telling me, form a wall of prayer in this state and call for this to cease. So we're going to do that. And but for those of you who do need the intelligence and you need policy recommendations, I highly recommend getting this report online, MIAPC.org. Thanks so much, and God bless.